listen up. This is the Music Scene Podcast. I am your host, Dave Cudrak. Congratulations to the Philadelphia Eagles. They are Super Bowl champions. As I record this, the game was last night. Awesome game. I am an Eagles fan, so I'm happy about it. I'm not a super avid sports fan, but I do watch the important games. I've been watching most of the Eagles games this season. And of course I watched all the playoffs games and of course the Super Bowl. So super excited for that team. Thank you very much for giving us a great year. I do have a question for anybody who might be in the know though, right? I'll admit I don't listen to hip hop music, rap music, so I don't know a whole lot about it. So please, someone out there, help me understand the halftime show. I'm not saying anything bad about it. I feel like I just don't really understand what it was all about. I know I guess if you're familiar with the beef that Kendrick Lamar and Drake have, I think there were probably a lot of references to it last night. And I'm interested in kind of learning the whole backstory. So if any of you guys know, feel free to message me on Facebook or Instagram and explain it to me. I always like to keep an open mind when it comes to music and all that stuff. I've heard some people say that the halftime show was fantastic and it was amazing and that Kendrick Lamar absolutely killed it. And then I've heard other people say that they didn't either understand it or didn't find it entertaining, thought it was boring. And that's all a matter of opinion. My main concern is I want to kind of understand what was going on. I know there is some significance behind the fact that Samuel L. Jackson was dressed as Uncle Sam, because I think there's a reference to there's in a Drake song, he talks about Kendrick's uncle or something like that. And then also Serena Williams was seen dancing on the field, during his performance. I know there's some significance to that. I don't really know what it is. And then also the whole crowd singing along to the phrase A minor. I know there's some kind of significance behind that as well, at least from what I've seen on social media, but I just don't know what it is. So please, someone let me know. Someone educate me. I'm always willing to learn and want to keep an open mind about stuff. So please let me know. Hit me up. Thank you. Today on the podcast, we've got Chris Kelly. A lot of you guys know Chris from the Reseda Band and then his solo project, No Time for Structure. We've seen him perform at the acoustic open mic at Red, White, and Brew, and I've seen him perform with Reseda Band, where he plays guitar and sometimes percussion, things like that. I had fun talking to Chris. I didn't really know him all that well, at least on a personal level. I've only met him a couple of times, and he seems like a great guy. We had fun conversation. It's kind of rapid fire, right? There's really no downtime in this conversation, so if you kind of zone out, you might miss something. But I hope you guys enjoy it. We do get 2 performances from Chris at the end, so stick around for those. They're great songs, especially if you're into kind of like the punk pop vibe. I think you'll definitely dig these. So sit back, relax, enjoy my conversation with Chris Kelly. All right, so we're here with Chris Kelly. I'm pronouncing that right?
Yeah, I think so. I believe so.
It's not too complicated. So I appreciate you being here, Chris. Thank you very much.
I appreciate being on here, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
Admittedly, I don't know a whole lot about you personally. I've met you a few times. I've seen you at Red, White, and Brew, and I've been to a couple of your gigs where you've been out with the Reseda Band.
Yeah.
And I think the most recent Reseda Band gig was that Butterfly Festival that was outside in the summer. It was really hot. I brought my kids.
Oh, I vaguely remember.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a fun time.
Yeah. It was super hot though.
Yeah, that summer was pretty hot outside. An unforgivable summer we had.
Right, exactly. Yep. And now it's been freezing cold here. So
Sheesh. When you live in Jersey, you get best of both worlds.
That's right. We just had Jeremy in here yesterday, and I know you and Jeremy go way back. So since he moved from California, Have you guys been always kind of jamming together?
Not since he directly moved. I think he was here for a few years.
Okay.
Before
Right.
we met.
Yeah.
I think I want to say we met about like 7 years ago.
Okay. Where'd you guys meet?
We met through a mutual friend. His name's Mike. We were in a band together called Say What Again.
Okay.
I don't know if he talked about that.
He mentioned it. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
We're fact checking Jeremy right now. That's what's
okay.
happening.
So he's on the line right now. Yes, it was a fun band. We had some issues, so we broke up and stuff.
Okay.
But nothing terrible happened.
Right. But then you two continued, right?
We continued playing music. Yeah, he got me to. He swindled me into playing music with him.
Nice.
Nah, just nothing like that. I love you, Jeremy.
That's awesome. So, okay, so let's kind of go back to where your musical journey began, right? So, when did you first start like falling in love with music, or when did you first decide that you wanted to play music?
That's a really funny story.
Okay.
So I was about 14 years old. I guess at the time I saw all my friends start playing music. They were playing together, and I just wanted to be someone's friend. So I tried to learn to play guitar, but everyone was very impatient with teaching a new guy guitar.
Okay.
So it was very frustrating. But then one day I got in trouble at school, and I got suspended on my dad's birthday.
Nice.
So
what'd you do?
Again, I wanted friends, so I did. I got I found a Sharpie on the bus, and I wrote the "fu," but the actual word on the back seat. And the very next on that Monday, they called my dad right up, and they're like, "Oh, you need to come in here right now."
Oh my God! How did they know it was you? Did somebody narc on you?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably. I did not have many friends, Dave.
That's great.
But yeah, it ended up being my dad's birthday, and he grounded me until my birthday.
Oh my God.
Which was about a 2-month time frame where I couldn't do anything except figure out how to play a guitar.
Okay. Well, hey, something good came out of it, right?
For real.
Yeah.
And ever since then, man, it was just, I just love the guitar. I'm a guitarist first.
That's awesome. So your friends were playing, or the people you wanted to be friends with were
Yeah.
playing music. So you decided to go out and get a guitar, I guess. How did you get your first guitar? What was it?
It was with my dad's guitar.
Oh, okay.
It was like I don't know if you're aware of Ariana.
I've heard of them. Yeah, I've never owned one or played one, but I've heard of them.
It's like Gibson makes like these trash guitars.
Okay.
So like, it was very hard to play.
Okay.
But
Acoustic
I think
or electric?
Acoustic.
Okay. Yep.
And it was very hard to even lay your fingers down on that thing, man. But
the action real high.
It hardened the scales.
Yeah, sure. Builds those muscles.
Puts
and
hair on the chest.
Yeah, you get the calluses on the tips of your fingers a lot faster. Okay. Cool.
I didn't actually get my first electric guitar until about like a year or two into me playing guitar.
Okay.
My parents were like, "No, you're gonna get good at this thing before we buy you something for real."
Yeah. No, it's a decent philosophy. It's frustrating as the kid who wants the electric guitar, but it's all in all, I think it's a good philosophy.
For sure.
So you were grounded for 2 months.
Yeah.
And all you did was play, right?
Basically.
Yeah. What kind of stuff were you playing? What were you teaching yourself? What did that look like?
I taught myself a lot of Blink-182 and Green Day.
Okay. Just by ear, or were you like downloading, like, or were we looking at like the tabs and stuff?
Mostly tabs.
Okay.
I learned how to read tabs very quickly.
Yep.
Because that's like the basically what you want to do as a beginner.
Sure.
Just play the freaking songs.
Right. Yeah.
So,
play along to whatever you love, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I just really wanted to learn. Like that was like the main thing that was so easy for me to learn because they're simple songs. I don't know if you ever listened to them.
Yeah. I've listened to Green Day, Blink-182.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like, have you ever covered any of their songs?
I do Good Riddance.
Yeah, it's an easy song, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah,
like,
pretty much the same chord progression, and then there's a little change up for the bridge, but
For sure.
Yeah.
And like it's cool. Like those songs are really cool because like you can come back to them 20 years later and then still play them and cover them, and like you can kind of see where you came from day one.
Yeah, exactly. So then the electric guitar comes, right? Like a couple of years later. Did that change what you were playing? Did that kind of change your path? So where did it go from there?
That summer I went to Brazil to visit some family.
Wow,
I used to
nice.
go every summer when I was a kid.
Okay, who's in Brazil that you visited?
My mom's side of the family.
Oh, okay.
A bunch of my aunts and uncles.
Yep.
I think she has 5 or 6 siblings. I can't even remember now.
Okay, all right. I made the mistake of It turned out to be okay, but I asked Jeremy yesterday if he was Hawaiian because I just,
Oh no.
and he's not.
No.
So now I'm curious. Like your mom's family lives in Brazil. So is she from Brazil?
Yeah, she came from Brazil.
Okay.
She came here when she was like 35 or so.
Okay. Right.
She had me when she was 38.
Okay, right
So,
on. And
yeah.
how about your dad?
My dad's always been American.
Okay.
I say that like it's funny.
So go ahead. I interrupted you. So you went down to Brazil.
And that was around the time my parents were like, okay, we need to start investing some time into this skill for him.
Okay.
They got me a guitar teacher, and also my cousin at the time. He like my cousin and his dad are actually pretty big deal in Brazil.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they play a lot of music for like news stations.
Wow.
And they make jingles for stuff.
So they're full-on professional musicians.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
that cousin taught me a lot of guitar that year.
Okay.
He really instilled into me that if you can't play it slow, you can't play it fast. So stop trying to play it fast.
Yeah. Good lesson to learn for sure.
real.
Yep.
So that I beat in my head over time for sure.
Okay. Yep. And then once you kind of got better at the electric guitar and started learning what you wanted to learn on the electric guitar, what did you do with that newfound information?
So then I eventually joined a rock school at the time.
Yeah?
They were a big deal back in like late 2000s.
Okay.
After that rock school movie came out.
Yeah, School of Rock
Yeah,
with
yeah.
Jack Black.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. My kids love that movie.
Oh man, what kid doesn't?
Yeah, right. I love that movie.
For real. But yeah, so I joined one of those schools, and eventually I stopped taking lessons there and I started giving them. And that,
Oh, wow.
yeah,
Nice.
and so it was really cool. They gave me an opportunity when I was 17 to do that.
Okay. So you learned all the theory and stuff behind like guitar playing and whatnot, and you to a level where you were able to teach.
Well, I was teaching like kids. You
Okay.
know? I was
But
teaching
still,
kids. Right.
you know?
Exactly.
Yep.
That.
That's awesome. All right. Very cool.
So that was cool for a little bit. But then I did a complete 180, and I was like, you know what? I don't want to play guitar for a band anymore. I want to be a vocalist.
Okay.
And that's when I joined a metal band.
You'll earn your chops in a metal band, that's for sure.
Or at least scream a lot.
Yeah, right. So what was the name of that band?
Hollow Lies.
Hollow Lies. Did you guys ever play out anywhere?
We played out a lot in the local scene, like the Berlin VFW, and that was a thing.
Okay, yep.
Skater's Choice.
Nice.
So like, I don't know. Like when I was in the metal band, I was never accepted in the metal community.
Really?
Around
Why?
here, it's very. I need to be the toughest breakdown ever, and that's at least how it was back then.
yeah,
In
yeah.
the hardcore scene.
What year are we talking about approximately?
Probably like 2011.
Okay.
2010, 2011.
Okay.
Around then.
Yep.
So I stopped playing metal after that.
And were you just singing or were you playing guitar as well?
I was still writing all the songs on guitar.
Okay.
But I was just singing for that band.
Were you the lead singer?
Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
So
Very
yeah,
cool.
it was fun while it lasted.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Yep. And then where'd you go from there? So from the metal band to what?
To a pop punk band.
Okay.
And that was pretty cool because at the time pop punk was kind of a very like hardcore in
Sure.
a way.
Yep.
It was just like it was basically the major scale instead of the minor scale.
Yeah, it's a really good observation for sure. So were you playing covers or originals?
Up until that point, I was mostly playing originals.
Okay.
I played like covers at the rock school because the rock school would play shows.
Sure.
And
Yep.
we just had to learn a bunch of cover songs to play the shows. And I'd play a lot of covers then.
Yep.
But I was never actually in a cover band until until I met Jeremy, really.
Okay. So the pop punk band, how long did that last?
About 2 years.
2 years. Did you guys play out also?
We played out a few bit about the same places, the VFW,
Okay.
Skater's Choices.
Yeah.
Then I started playing in like a math rock trio.
Okay.
And that was probably the coolest band I was ever
Yeah,
in.
explain that to me. I'm probably going to be wrong, but when you say math rock, there was a time, I'm not sure what year it was, sometime in the early 2000s, I think, maybe mid 2000s. I was up in New York, just like hanging out in like Greenwich Village, and there was one of these parks had like some kind of concert on, and there was this like rock band or punk rock band. They were called the Mathematicians.
Oh, okay.
And they had like the shirts buttoned all the way up to the top, and they're wearing bow ties and glasses. They had very much like a Weezer look, but that's what I think of when I hear math rock.
You're not far off.
Okay, so what is math rock?
It's a lot of like, so you know how like a lot of pop music uses 4/4 time signatures.
Okay,
It's either
yep.
4/4 or like 6/8, right?
Yep.
In math rock, they use a lot of 5/4. They'll switch up between like 4/4 and 6/4 for like
Okay.
a line.
Yep.
So it's like a lot of math problems.
Okay. All right. Cool.
I don't know, like a lot of math rock, it's not for me anymore.
Okay.
But like back then, it was.
Right.
So that trio essentially like it just sounded like a 5-piece band. By the time we were like finished playing.
Okay. How so? That statement confuses me a little bit. What's that mean?
So my drummer at the time, she was really freaking good, man.
Yeah. What was her name?
I think her name was like Steph.
Okay.
Yeah, Steph. Her name was Steph. She's a really good drummer. Probably one of the best drummers I've jammed with.
Nice.
But she would do like really intricate beats, and like I would call them Travis Barker beats.
Okay.
But like it would just be also in the pocket.
Oh, okay.
At the same time, and then our bassist would just cover like the low end in a way where like he wasn't doing too much flashy stuff, but I was doing all the flashy stuff. I was doing mostly like a lot of tapping.
Okay.
I was doing rhythm and leads through the tapping.
Nice.
And it was just a really cool project.
Yeah,
I'm not that creative anymore though.
Did you tell me what the name of that band was yet?
That band name was called Counter Earth.
Counter Earth. And did you guys release any music or anything?
I wish, man.
No?
There's like a few like grainy videos on YouTube and Facebook,
Okay.
but like I really wish we would have hit the studio with that.
Yeah.
If there was any project I wish would have hit the studio, it was that one.
How long did it last, and why did it end?
It lasted about a year or two, and then I started being a jerk to them. I'll leave it at that.
All right.
Yeah,
All right.
I'm not the best person.
I appreciate your honesty. That's all good.
For sure.
So after the math band, where did you go after that?
I stopped playing music for
another hiatus.
Yeah.
It's almost every episode there's a hiatus of some point.
Well, at that point in my life, I was about 26 years old, and I was always told that music was never going to make you any money. And you need to find a real job.
I was told that too. Yep.
I was burnt in a few of those bands at the same time.
Sure.
And I was just exhausted.
Yeah.
I just didn't even feel like playing music anymore.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, it's time to figure out what a basic normal human being does that doesn't play music.
Yeah.
And that was the most grueling 5 years of my life.
What did you try to do in those 5 years?
I went to school to be an electrician.
Okay.
And that I got a job for 2 weeks. And
for 2 weeks.
I just couldn't do it, man. Like it was a lot.
Yeah.
They wanted me to come in for like 12-hour days. And if you were like 5 minutes late, it was just like,
Right. Yeah, they give you a bunch of shit, right?
right. And it's like, if you're going to have me there for 12 hours, why does it matter if I'm 5 minutes late, man?
Right.
Jesus. But then like, and then I started like doing like, I don't know, Magic the Gathering stuff and doing a lot of nerdy, playing a lot of games.
Okay.
I really took a break from it. And after a while, I started making a lot of money at the bank. Okay, that's where I went from there. I got a job at the bank.
Okay, gotcha. So electrician to the bank.
Yes.
Okay, and what'd you do at the bank?
I was just a teller.
Okay.
But then I got a few promotions. Then I started being like a floater.
Okay.
So they just kind of sent me like any random places.
Yeah, different branches.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff. Yep.
And it
Okay,
was a cool job for a while, but then it started turning a little toxic. And
Sure,
so
sure.
I had to get out of
As
there.
a lot of corporate jobs do, for
For
sure.
sure.
Yep. So then where'd you go after the bank? What'd you do?
I stopped working for a little bit because that was around the time that the GameStop stock
Oh,
was a big thing,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
crypto
yeah.
was huge.
Sure.
And I was really lucky, and I made some pretty cool investments back then.
Oh, really?
So-
Did you invest in like GameStop and
I
stuff?
invested a little bit in GameStop, but
Okay.
mostly crypto.
Okay.
But I was able to get to a point where I could literally quit my job for 6 months.
Oh, sweet.
And not have to worry about it.
That's awesome.
So that was really cool.
Yeah, man.
I didn't
Yep.
make millions or anything, but
But enough to quit your job for 6 months or whatever. So that's
Exactly.
awesome. That's great. So what made you decide to go back? Is this around the time you went back to music or?
okay. So while I was at the bank is when I started to play music again.
Okay.
That's when I met Jeremy and
Okay.
started playing a lot of covers.
Okay,
I stopped
so-
playing original music at that time.
Okay. Yep. So not to give Jeremy too much credit, but you hooking up with him kind of made you start playing again?
I think so.
Yeah?
Yeah. Because
Okay.
like when I first jammed with that band, I was not expecting much.
Oh, okay.
But
All
then,
right.
like, after we jammed the first time, I was just like, oh, wow, we're actually really freaking tight.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I'm not used to this.
That's awesome.
And then, like, like, he was just always really freaking tight. And
Mm-hmm.
eventually, like, even towards the end of that band, I was just like, hey, do you want to start another band together
Yeah,
and, like,
yeah.
do what we want to do?
Yeah, that matches what Jeremy said yesterday. That
Oh,
it
so
was-
it goes with the fact checking still.
It
Cool.
Do you do any kind of like solo acoustic type stuff? I mean, I've seen you perform at open mic solo acoustic.
Oh, yeah. So the solo acoustic thing is just, like, one of the things I do for that solo project.
Okay.
That solo project has been around since, I guess, about 5 years now. I first released music under No Time for Structure
Okay.
in 2020.
Yep.
So I guess that has been an active project since then. Not really active because I haven't released much in the past 2 years or so.
All right.
And that's unfortunate because I met most of my friends now in the last 2 years, including you.
Right.
So what a lot of people don't know is that I actually have a lot of music on Spotify, and I have some music videos out for my stuff.
Oh, you do? Okay. Yeah.
And so when you see me at these open mics doing solo acoustic stuff, that's really just basically me covering the full band songs.
I got you. So is there a plan to release music sometime soon, or?
1000%. I've been working on this EP for a little over a year now.
Oh, nice.
There's going to be about 5 songs on there.
Very cool. I had no idea you're working on EP, so I'm glad you're here so we can talk about.
I'm glad here too. Like even Brian Westerfeld, I was talking to him the other day, and I was telling him about all my music. He was like, "I didn't have any idea you even had anything out there."
Right. Well, that's the whole point of this conversation, Chris.
That's why I appreciate it, man. And that made me realize, like, I need to start talking more about myself at these shows.
Yep. And I think it comes from a place of like modesty, right? Like,
oh yeah,
you don't want to sound like the guy that's bragging about, like, oh yeah, I just released another song last week, or I've got 27 songs from 10 years ago on Spotify. You know what I mean?
You're right.
Like a lot of guys don't want to talk about themselves like that for fear that they're going to sound like an asshole, right?
1000%. And to that, I have to comment, like, you know, you see, if you hop on TikTok and you look at music TikTok and you scroll through, you see so many guys from the West Coast just doing exactly what you're describing.
Right.
And it's like, okay, they're kicking our ass over here, man. We got to do something about this.
Yep, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true. So, and we were just talking about TikTok yesterday. Like, I am reluctantly on TikTok, right?
Same.
I mean, I'm 52 years old. I don't really want to be on TikTok, but TikTok, I think, has more users than like Instagram and Facebook combined.
Oh, 1000%.
You know what I mean? Like, it's ridiculous. So you can get followers by accident on TikTok. You know what I mean?
Right, because it's constantly pushing your stuff out to people.
Right. And it's you post one little riff and you've got 10 more followers the next day. Like, it's absurd how easily it is to get followers.
TikTok followers.
So we all, this is a message to everybody who's ever been on the podcast or going to be on the podcast, or anyone listening, we've all got to get on TikTok and just do a better job.
We do. And that's like one thing I do hate about social media anymore, though, man. Like, they're almost like forcing musicians to do this in a way.
I think it's just kind of the way the industry works now, right?
Yeah.
Because back in the day, you know, you'd write the greatest songs you could ever write, and you would record them to the best of your ability based on whatever your budget was, right?
Right.
And you would hope and pray that somebody would listen to it and somebody would be like, all right, I want to sign you. Here's a boatload of money. Let's go out on tour. Let's record another album. Let's make music videos. And that was like my idea when I was a 14-year-old kid dreaming of being a rock star. That was my idea of what being a professional musician was.
Mine wasn't very far off.
Right. There was no other alternative. It was either rock star or be homeless, right?
God.
Like if you're pursuing music, right? Like,
right.
That's all I knew. Nowadays, the industry works differently. There is nobody getting discovered that's handed boatloads of money anymore. I think those days are over, maybe for a select few.
And even if they do hand you the boatloads of money, you have to pay it back.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. It's so crazy. I learned that like maybe 2 years ago. I'm like, wait a second. You sign a big contract and somebody gives you $2 million.
They're giving you a loan.
Yeah, it's a loan. You got to pay that back, and then you don't start making money until you sell enough records to where that loan's paid off. It's so absurd.
It really is. And it's almost like predatory in a way.
It
really
absolutely is. Absolutely is.
The only thing I don't like about it is like how musicians kind of have to be a court jester on social media just to get noticed anymore.
You do.
You can't just write a cool song anymore.
Right. It's all about getting someone's attention, and it doesn't have anything to do with the song.
Right.
You know, it's got to be some
doesn't have anything to do with your band.
Right.
Sometimes.
It's got to be some kind of gimmicky thing. I forget the guy's name. There's a guy who's big on Spotify and TikTok and stuff, and he even said, your song doesn't even have to be that good. Your content is what has to be good.
Like,
and
why?
And I was just like, oh God, that's heartbreaking to hear.
Oh my God.
You know?
That's what I refuse to do that. Like, they say you need to post every day. I don't post every day.
Right.
I'm not doing that.
Right. I hear you.
But like, even when you do start releasing stuff every day, like, your content really starts to like get drained. You know,
does.
like you can tell, like, okay, it's definitely not as good as what it can be.
Right. Let's see. What else? I mean, is there? I mean, you've played out a lot, right? So
mostly cover shows.
Yep. Okay.
I do want to get out and play more original shows.
Okay.
But I think the state of original music in New Jersey, or at least South Jersey, is very minimal.
It is. However, I don't know how many episodes you've listened to, but There are a couple of friends of mine. You probably know them from Red, White, and Brew. They've been out a few times. Shay Arthur. Michael Songs.
Shay, I was about to say, Shay is doing a really good job right now at combating that.
Yeah.
He had me out. He had me out to this first original night.
You played you played it there. So tell me how that went. I'm supposed to play on April 3rd.
It went really well.
Yeah. So tell me all about it.
There's a lot of people there.
Okay.
People there were pretty attentive.
Okay.
Like I was not expecting people to really like pay attention much, but I every time I looked up, there were people dancing or just like looking at me.
Nice.
So it was a nice spot. They ran sound very well.
Okay.
They're on their own schedule, and that means that they're going to take care of you and make sure that everyone has their time to share their voice.
Okay, cool.
And dude, like the whole time, like they're just really good people.
Yep.
And I really enjoyed myself there.
Good. So for those of you that don't know, I think Shay calls it the Original Artists Circuit.
Something like that.
Yep, and it's held, I think, I want to say the first Thursday of well, maybe it's not the first Thursday, but it's a Thursday, one Thursday a month at Double Nickel Brewing Company in Pennsauken. So check out Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff for that information. But it's all original artists, right? And what does that? It's Shay, and then I think Michael Songs is a regular on it, I think, and Chuck M runs sound, I think.
Them three. Between them three, it's basically the team, the big Three Musketeers. Yes,
That's great. So what did your night look like when you got there and all that stuff? Walk me through it.
I can barely remember what I had for dinner yesterday, man. But
I kind of want to set the vibe though, right? Like it's not an open mic.
No.
Right.
No.
So it's like a legit show.
It's a legit show. It did feel like, so when I think about that night, it really felt like a lot of the original shows that I played back in the day.
Okay.
But a lot more organized. And you can hear yourself.
Oh, nice. Nice.
I don't know. You ever play like a basement show and there's no monitors,
right?
And there's not even a sound guy. It's just some guy's speaker.
I've played a few open mics like that back in the day.
Yeah, I'm sure. So it's nothing like that, but like it still has the vibe where everyone's there to have a good time.
Okay, good.
That was a really fun time, I thought.
Nice. What songs did you play?
I played all original stuff. I have an EP out right now that came out in 2021.
Okay.
I played a few songs off that. I played a few new songs.
Nice.
It's hard to reference them because like all my new songs now, like they just don't have any recordings of them.
Right. But so they will. This is the EP that you're working on, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So when do you think that's going to be out, that new EP?
I'm talking to a videographer right now to get a music video together. I'm going to try and get that finished by the end of the month. So hopefully by next month, hopefully by mid-March, we'll have a music video and a single out.
Okay.
And then probably in May, we're looking at like an EP release.
Nice.
Hopefully. I said that last year too, but then my last year sucked. So
who's recording it for you? Or are you working with a studio?
Yeah, so my friend Andrew, he's a killer producer.
Okay.
He mixes and masters stuff at a really good price for musicians like you and me.
Okay, cool.
He has like different price points for bands and solo musicians.
Yep.
So he works really well as far as what you need to get done.
Okay.
His page is called Tabaco Music. Yeah, so if anyone's listening, you need some recordings done, I would definitely suggest to hit up my boy Andrew because he kills it every time, man.
So now I've never worked in like a professional studio. I've never worked with a producer, right? So in your opinion, like what does a producer help you with? Because I have no idea.
I love that question because I talk to a lot of musicians around here and I'll ask them like, hey, do you have any recordings? Do you plan on recording anything? Because I think recordings are very important.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then like the people who have worked with the producer, they say a lot of the times like, yeah, I just can't work with a producer, man. Like they just tried to change everything about the song. And to that, I want to be like, okay, like, did you want to pay the producer just to hit the record button?
Yeah, right.
Like, I don't, what were you paying him for then?
Right.
Because anyone can just like go out and buy a laptop and record yourself. I mean, like there's knowledge as far as mixing and mastering is concerned. You might take a few months to learn all of that.
Right, sure.
But if you're going to go out to work with a producer, trust the producer.
Yeah.
It's kind of like picking out a tattoo artist, right? Like, look, if I want a traditional tattoo, I'm going to go to a traditional tattoo artist.
Right,
if I want an anime tattoo, I'm going to go to someone who specializes in that.
Right, exactly.
I'm not going to go get a traditional tattoo from an anime person who's never done a traditional tattoo before.
That's a very good point. Yep. That's great. So then how did the producer help you then?
So there was like a bunch of songs that I took to him and, one song in particular, it was a completely different song when I took it to him initially. Okay. And then like he listened to it and he was like, I like it, but here's what's going to happen to it.
Oh, nice.
And like, he changed a lot of it. And at first it was not something I was used to. I would not have written that part for that song. I would not have written that song, basically.
Can you give me some like small examples? Like, what did he change? Like,
so at first it almost sounded like a hardcore disco song.
Okay.
Like a metal hardcore disco song. And so he was just like, yeah, no, that's a little much. We're going to not do that.
Okay.
And now it kind of sounds like almost like a 3 Days Grace riff.
All right.
Almost.
Yep.
But still like pop punk in a way.
Okay.
So it basically went from metal disco to 3 Days Grace.
Okay.
And for that song in particular, that needed that.
Okay.
I could have just been a jerk and been like, "No, man, like I can't believe you're changing my song like that. That's me. You're changing."
Right.
Like, that's not
Which
true.
a lot of people would react that way.
Right.
Yep.
For real. Mm-hmm. And like, I don't know, when you go to pay the producer, you're basically paying them to translate your vision into something that everyone can consume.
Okay.
Not just you.
Right. You know? Yeah, because I mean, in all honesty, right? I mean, I guess there's like hardcore musicians out there who just do it for the art itself, and they just do it for themselves, and that's fine. If you're one of those guys out there that just wants to create your own art, well then great. Maybe you're never going to work with a producer. But
for sure.
I think the majority of us, yes, we're doing it for the art, blah blah blah, but we also want people to hear our music, and we want people to like it.
Right.
You know what I mean? If we're being honest with ourselves, right? We want somebody to be like, that's a fucking great song. I'm going to share it with everybody I know.
For sure.
You know?
And like, sometimes like as talented as anyone is, they don't always have the best ideas.
That's true too.
You know, like I can't tell you like what my problem is when I write a song usually is all of the parts sound way too busy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because like I'll just want to be really intricate about it, and like it works if you're like listening to it on TikTok, but if you're listening to it like a song, you're just like, what the hell is going on? It's too much.
Yeah, sometimes it can be too much for a listener.
Right.
You know?
Have you ever talked to an original artist and like they just say like, I would never cover someone else's music?
Yeah. I mean, maybe not necessarily on the podcast. I did have somebody, I forget who it was, unfortunately, sorry, whoever that was. Somebody just said recently, like, I used to be that guy. I used to be an original artist, and I was like, I'll never do covers. Oh, Jimmy Uo.
Okay.
Shout out to Jimmy. He was like, yeah, I used to be that guy. We were all originals, and I was like, I'm never gonna do a cover. And now he's in like 3 different cover bands.
Right. Because like, it's nothing wrong with just wanting to be the original person. Like if that's what you want music to be for you.
Yeah.
But for me, like I need to make extra money.
Sure.
So if I can make extra money just by partying for 3 hours and playing simple songs.
Yeah, exactly.
For people, like, why wouldn't I do that?
Right. I tell a lot of people, when they ask me about like gigs and stuff, I'm like, well, the nice part about gigging is that, I go to bars, I go to 2-3 bars a weekend.
Right.
And I make money. I don't spend money.
Exactly. That's another positive in itself.
And that's a pretty big swing. You know what I mean?
Oh my God. And like, there's other people who say like, playing covers kills your creativity.
I don't think so.
No, because like at one point, like, it gives you more of a vision on the music theory. And sometimes when you're like focused on that, you're just like, okay, what's the next move I make based off the music theory?
Right.
Versus the feel.
Yep. And then there's also, I do it with a couple of songs. I've talked to a bunch of other people that do it too, who play covers. They might take a song that they love, a cover song that they love, and figure out a way to make it their own. Right.
Yeah. That's what every musician in the world does. Like, if you really like listen to music and like really focus on just the chord progressions,
right,
you'll notice that every song is literally the same song.
Right, exactly. It's the reason why Ed Sheeran won that lawsuit a year or two ago, because I forget.
I know what you're talking about, but I forget too.
I forget who the people were that were suing him. I forget what song it was, but yeah, he was like, telling me I can't use this chord progression is like telling a painter he can't use the color blue. Like everybody uses the same stuff. And he won. He literally brought his guitar into the courtroom on the stand and played like the same 4 chords and played like 30 songs.
Right.
Sang 30 songs to the same chord progression. He's like, so what are you are all these other people gonna sue me now too?
And that's what like really, that's what I've been trying to write, I've been trying to write music lately though, is like, okay, once I realized that, I was like, okay, what chord progression do I feel like using for these lyrics?
Right. Yep. Yeah, that's exactly right. You got to find the right combination, what feels right.
For sure.
So when you're writing a song, I know you said you like to kind of make it complex and maybe to your detriment a little bit. But what's your writing process look like?
So my writing process is almost detrimental, like you said.
Okay.
Because I don't like releasing simple stuff. I don't like playing simple stuff. But at the same time, I don't like playing too much of difficult things.
Sure.
I like writing music that a casual listener and a competitive listener will both enjoy.
What's a competitive listener?
Another musician, another guitarist.
Okay. All right. I get that. I totally get that.
Sometimes I get really in my own head and I'm just like, okay, this riff is cool, but is it like competitive, quote unquote,
right.
enough?
Yep.
And sometimes I'll be like, well, this is too basic. I'm just going to trash it.
Okay.
And so like, that's been a struggle of mine for like the last year or so now.
Okay. All right.
I've been mostly focusing on getting this EP done. But when I do write, I guess I'll try and like find some cool lyrics to focus on, because I feel like when I focus too much on like a riff, I'll build off that riff and maybe I'll write a whole entire song out of it.
Okay.
And then I'll listen to it so much that, okay, what is the vocal even supposed to sound like now?
Right.
Crap.
I hear you. Yep.
I forgot.
Yeah. So so lately, have you been writing lyrics first or music, or is it kind of all at once?
So lately I haven't really been writing much.
Okay.
I've mostly just been trying to prepare live sets.
Okay.
Because like I did have a live band for the original stuff, but like I said, it's been a solo project for the most part.
Yep.
I did have a band, but we started playing emo nights.
Okay.
And after a while, we turned around to each other, and then they were like, yeah, we just kind of want to focus more on the covers.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, no problem. That's fine. And so we split that band into two. And so there's an emo night band, and then there's No Time for Structure now.
Okay.
No Time for Structure is just me.
Okay. All right.
So I've been just trying, my writing, what my writing looks like now is trying to prepare backing tracks.
Oh, okay.
For the songs that I do have.
Yeah. So what's that look like then?
So right now I'm only getting opportunities to do acoustic shows. So right now I'm mostly just preparing cajon backing tracks.
Okay.
I started preparing some bass guitar backing tracks at the same time.
Right.
But for acoustic shows, I don't want to put too much in there.
Okay.
Because whatever sound guy is going to deal with that, they're going to hate me.
I hear you.
So I want the sound guy's job to be as easy as possible.
Right.
What I've been doing mostly nowadays is kind of like producing for other people.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So if I run sound with Jeremy, I'll record all of the open mic onto my laptop.
Nice.
And then I'll take it home. I'll mix and master it down. For any videos that we have, I'll splice the audio and the video together.
Oh, cool.
And sometimes I'll even get my iPhone and record some cool shots. I don't do it all the time.
Yeah.
But like after I do that, like it's a really solid piece of content that someone can use.
Nice.
I really try and tell them like, hey, you can even cut these up into like 15-second segments.
Okay.
That's like 8 pieces of content.
Well, yeah, sure.
For your TikTok, Instagram, whatever you want.
Absolutely.
So
is that like a service that you're trying to provide? Like that you're trying.
Oh yeah.
I guess my question is, are you trying to like sell that as a service?
So right now I'm not really trying to like sell it.
Okay.
I ask for tips whenever I do send them the video.
That makes sense. That
right.
makes sense.
Because like I don't really consider myself a professional, and maybe like if they do get the video, they'll be like, oh my God, there's this and that you need to change.
Right.
And I don't feel like dealing with that.
Right.
These videos are pretty professional quality. They're probably worth at least $20 a video.
Right.
And like if you want me to get a whole set, like that's probably worth like $50 to $100.
Sure.
I'm only asking for a $20 tip. Like, and you don't even have to give it to me. Like here's the video.
Right.
If you want to send me the tip, I will not say no.
I got you. All right. Well, that's good. I mean, this podcast will help get the word out on that stuff. If anybody's looking for content and you're at an open mic that Chris is there, or Red, White, and Brew or whatever, then that's an option,
For sure.
Because especially with, folks that are musicians that are newer trying to get gigs, it's all about kind of content in that your Facebook, your Instagram becomes your resume.
1,000%. You need some kind of package to send to people.
So you've got to send it to the venues and be like, check out my stuff on Instagram or Facebook or whatever.
Right.
And they need something to see.
Do you want them to listen to like an iPhone audio, or do you want them to actually get the line in, direct audio, record it? I got your back, man. Like,
there you go.
Just hit me up.
Okay, so who are some of your like influences as far as in general, but then also as far as writing goes?
I think my biggest influences, so vocally speaking, probably Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance.
Oh yeah,
he's good, man.
Yeah.
And it's so cool that they're from New Jersey.
Oh, are they really?
Yeah.
See, I know nothing about them. I just love that one album.
Now, Jarway's he's like just an inspiration to me in general.
Yeah.
Man. Like he's from New Jersey. He was also bullied when he was a kid.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
he didn't even start My Chemical Romance till he was like about 27 years old.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah. So,
Wow.
and they didn't even get famous till he was like 33.
Oh, that's amazing.
So
It's like inspiring.
It's
Yeah.
very inspiring
Yeah.
because like so many people when they reach like, I don't know, like 25, they're like, oh, I'm too old for music.
I was one of them. Yeah, I was
and
one of them.
I hate that
Yeah.
because it's like, dude, it's never too late to
Yeah.
start.
Who else do you dig?
For guitar, I really like Tim Henson from Polyphia.
Oh, he's great.
And I also like Yvette Young.
I don't know Yvette Young.
She's so good,
Yeah?
man. Like back in 2014, like she would post these YouTube videos of her just tapping on the guitar, and it would just be like excellent math rock stuff. Like
Okay.
she was the math rock guitarist.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you started seeing all these other bands start popping up out of the woodwork with these white guys just trying to like mimic that, and it just. I don't know. It just wasn't the same.
Right,
And I'm
right.
like, you guys are just faking it. She's the real one,
Yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah.
And like,
Yep.
I just saw her growth from when she first started, and now she has like an Ibanez guitar.
She got a signature model.
Signature
That's
model.
awesome.
So I was just
Yeah.
like, man, that's just so cool to watch.
That's fantastic.
And like, she's still an inspiration to me, man. Like when I want to learn some intricate stuff, like I'll just like look up one of her videos and be like,
Right,
yeah,
right.
that's really cool.
Very cool. All right, cool. So you're gonna play a couple songs for us?
Yeah.
All right. What songs are you gonna play?
I'm gonna play one song that's out right now called "Bad Again."
Okay.
I have a mid-tier music video for that out on YouTube. It's also out on Spotify.
Yep.
But I'm also playing the song called "Soulmates," which is going to be the single I am hopefully releasing next month.
Okay, cool. Awesome. All right. So, and then you brought like a speaker or something. You got some backing tracks on that, right?
Yeah, so hopefully the mic can pick it up a little bit. If not, whatever.
Yeah, we'll
But
figure it out. We'll figure it out.
We got a
All
little bit of cajon and bass guitar for you.
right, cool. Looking forward to it. Chris, thank you very much for being on the podcast. I appreciate it.
Dave, thank you.
Yeah, man.
For real, man.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anytime.
My name is Chris. This is a song from my project No Time for Structure called Bad Again.
Cut off ties. Jealousy gets the best of me, leaves me confused. The past and present are at war within me. I constantly lose. Cancel all my plans and sit alone inside my head. Overanalyze the steps and motions I misread. Up till 3 a.m. wondering where you've been. That's how I notice when it's getting bad again. Cancel all my plans and sit alone inside my head. Overanalyze the steps and motions I misread. Up till 3 a.m. wondering where you've been. That's how I notice when it's getting bad again. Falling harder again. I slip through broken line. I'm falling harder again. I pick myself up with my bare hands. Find love just to leave, and now I'm laughing. Feeling blue in the mood, don't know how it happened. Back to my bad habits, mad tragic. It's getting bad again. Cancel all my plans and sit alone inside my head. Overanalyze the steps and motions I misread. Up till 3 a.m. wondering where you've been. That's how I notice when it's getting bad again. Bad again. It's bad again. Bad again. It's bad again. Bad again. It's bad again.
So this next song is going to be hopefully released next month. I've been playing this a lot at open mics lately. So maybe some of y'all will recognize it if you're listening. I don't know, but I hope you enjoyed either way.
Dark. I'm running on empty, driving to you cross country. It's like we're falling in love or falling apart. I'm just gonna need a little jump start for me to get to you and fix your broken heart. I'm done picking up pieces when you're just trying to leave. You won't see me begging on my knees or reminisce on happy days. I'm done picking up pieces when you're just trying to leave me. Putter on the falling leaves while I turn to gray. I see your ghost in all I do. Part of me is missing you, a puzzle piece that you fit in perfectly. This ship is slowly sinking. I thought we had it, but it's dissipating. Saw the wound, it's never healing. Bleeding through and it's permeating. I'm done picking up pieces when you're just trying to leave. You won't see me begging on my knees or reminisce on happy days. I'm done picking up pieces when you're just trying to leave me. Ponder on the falling leaves while I turn to gray. I'm on the way to save the day like you always claim. But where does that leave me? I'm done picking up pieces when you're just trying to leave. You won't see me begging on my knees or reminisce on happy days. I'm done picking up pieces when you're just trying to leave me. Ponder on the falling leaves while I turn to gray. I'm on, please sink in. I thought we had it, but it's dissipating. Saw the wound, it's never healing. Bleeding through and it's permeating. Flowers fully bloomed into something wilted. Lost cause, no redemption. We're still alive with some pieces missing. We're soulmates with flowers fully bloomed into something wilted. Lost cause, no redemption. We're still alive with some pieces missing. We're soulmates with a bad connection.
Yeah. Thank you.